Daniel was placed in an unknown world. Talk about culture shock. A well-bred and upright Old Testament Jewish young man was brought to Babylon, a pagan land of sin. Similarly, Christians inhabit a world not their own, like an ambassador who travels to foreign lands, calling for diplomacy and peace. We are ambassadors of Christ's reconciliation. I heard a saying which rings more true every time it comes to mind. Just because something is common, it doesn't mean it's right. There are many things that are common in this society that go against God's ways. Many of these things are even accepted by Christians as just the way it is, and have become very normalized. And therein lies the problem. If our conduct is the same as the world's, then who cares if we were sent from heaven? Because we're the exact same as the Babylonians, if you will. Daniel and his friends were not the same as everyone else. King Nebuchadnezzar tried desperately to convert his Jewish hostages, integrating them into his culture by changing their names, ingratiating himself to them with lavish feasts and food, and indoctrinating them with a Babylonian education. However unlikely, these young men kept their heads, told the king to keep his food, metaphorically. They followed God's commands and remained steadfast in this foreign land. And we know the outcome of their diligence. Daniel was second to none and served before 3 kings. He was highly distinguished and honored because God chose to make him intelligent. God gave him favor with man and gave him the ability to see and interpret visions and dreams. And just like Daniel, who was plucked from a cozy land and placed in a land not his own, we are all given the same choice. Do we convert or become converted? Daniel chose to convert by remaining steadfast to God and never bowing down before idols. God used Daniel and his friends to touch King Nebuchadnezzar's life. And in the end, King Nebuchadnezzar recognized God's glory because he saw it in those young men. If we remain steadfast, people will see our example and recognize God's glory because they will see his light shining from us. Daniel was a leader in his generation, leading his brothers in Christ to righteousness and distinguished among men. This is true because he was faithful and obedient to God in the face of adversity. Being taken into an unknown land, he remained steadfast. As ambassadors of Christ, we are all placed into a world not our own. We are a new creation in Christ and ambassadors of his reconciliation. As such, we should conduct ourselves with the same valor as Daniel and his friends.